In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NFL games happening on August 26, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. New York Jets versus New York Giants. The New York Jets and the New York Giants battle it out inside of MetLife Stadium on Saturday evening to conclude the preseason. The Jets are currently 1-2 and are coming off a 13-6 home loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Giants are 1-1 and are coming off a 21-19 home win over the Carolina Panthers. In a battle of the two teams that call MetLife Stadium home, this will be interesting to see in the preseason finale. Let's take a deeper dive into both teams to discuss what we should expect for this game. You probably know why the New York Jets are favored by so many points in their final preseason game against the New York Giants on Saturday, but I'll confirm it anyway. Aaron Rodgers is playing. That's right, Rodgers will be making his debut for the Jets in this preseason finale. That also means their other starters will probably play too, since head coach Robert Saleh isn't going to let his quarterback get hung out to dry behind anything other than the best possible group of offensive linemen. Rodgers last played in the preseason in a 2018 game against Pittsburgh, logging 5 snaps while going 2 for 4 with 35 yards and a touchdown. Rodgers doesn't figure to play much more than that on Saturday. As a result, I'm not about to give this many points in a preseason situation. Unless Rodgers and company come out and play 2 series and score touchdowns on both, the Giants should be able to cover what is a very big spread for a preseason contest. In fact, the Giants have not lost by more than 5 points in the preseason since their opener in 2018. For those counting, they have gone 15 preseason games in a row either winning outright or losing by no more than 5 points. So far this season, the G-Men have a loss at Detroit and a home victory over Carolina. I understand the neutral site aspect as both teams are playing in their home stadium, but this is still the preseason. While the Jets plan on playing their starters, the Giants have not announced who will be on the field here. Statistically, these teams have been playing very similarly throughout the preseason as well, so there is not much differentiating them here. The Jets are being overhyped in this game as a result. There is no reason to overthink this one. The Giants simply don't lose big in the preseason. So the New York Giants to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Jets are averaging 16 points per game while the Giants are scoring 18.5 points per game this preseason, so not many points have been scored. Neither team has been running the ball particularly great either, as the Jets are averaging 99.7 rushing yards per game while the Giants are running for 70.5 rushing yards per game. Aaron Rodgers may look a little rusty and save some for the regular season, so do not expect a dominant performance throwing the football here. Expect some fun plays but not many points. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Cincinnati Bengals versus Washington Commanders. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to Maryland to take on the Washington Commanders at FedEx Field on Saturday evening in their final preseason game of the year. The Bengals matched their franchise best record of 12-4 in 2022, but could not get past the eventual Super Bowl 57 champion Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. The Commanders will be looking for redemption this season after producing a .500 record and missing the playoffs in 2022. Cincinnati is 21-5 to 1 against the spread in their last 27 games overall and 37-18 against the spread in their last 55 road games, while the under is 41-20-3 in their last 64 road games. Washington is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 Saturday games and 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games overall, while the over is 9-0 in their last 9 Saturday games. The Commanders have come out hot in the preseason. Heading into their final game before the regular season starts, Washington is 2-0 with wins over the Browns and Ravens. Yes, you heard that right. The Ravens actually lost a preseason game. Baltimore's 24-game winning streak in the preseason was snapped by Sam Howell and the Commanders last week in a massive upset. To me, that shows Washington wants to set the tone early that they are a team to mess with, even with an inexperienced guy like Howell at quarterback. Speaking of Howell, he looked great in his limited time last week. He went 19 of 25 with 188 yards and 2 touchdowns before handing the reins over to Jake Fromm and Jacoby Brissett. And between Fromm and Brissett, the two combined to go 17 of 27 with 138 yards. The Bengals have looked a little different this season as Joe Burrow has yet to take a snap in a preseason game. Cincinnati's franchise quarterback suffered a calf injury a few weeks ago that would keep him out of the preseason and possibly the first few weeks of the regular season. However, Zach Taylor continues to be optimistic about Burrow's Week 1 chances. Anyways, the Bengals are 0-1 in the preseason thus far, which has included a 36-19 beatdown from the Packers followed by a 13-13 tie with the Falcons. It was very surprising to not see Atlanta come away with the wins considering they had more passing yards, rushing yards, first downs, and more, but it was their offensive line that had a rough game. Cincinnati has looked sluggish in the preseason so far, and with 1 week left, their sights already appear to be set on Week 1. 4.5 points is a lot to lay in a preseason game, but the Commanders have looked pretty good in the preseason. Now whether or not that translates to the regular season is another story. That being said, the Bengals haven't looked great, and I just think the focus here is getting to the regular season as healthy as possible. So the Washington Commanders to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Browning, who will see action throughout the matchup with the Commanders, has produced significant offense in the preseason. The nimble quarterback threw for 140 yards and added an additional 50 yards on the ground versus the Falcons last week. Howell has looked effective and is in need of reps and experience before he takes over the helm this season for Washington, so look for him to get ample playing time and throw down the field in his final warm-up match. The Commanders have gone over the point total in their previous 9 games played on Saturday. Both teams' defenses have given up at least 28 points during one of their games this preseason. The Bengals averaged 16 points per game through their first 2 games, and they scored 13 points in their lone road game. They haven't thrown the ball well and won't be able to pick up a lot of yards on the ground against a defense that knows what is coming and is giving up 21.5 points per game through 2 games, so don't expect the Bengals to score more than 20 points in this game. The Commanders averaged 23 points per game through their first 2 games and scored 29 points in their lone home game. They've been balanced offensively, throwing and running the ball well, and they're facing a defense that has struggled against the run and is giving up 24.5 points per game through 2 games, so expect the Commanders to score enough points to push the score past the total. Most signs point to a higher scoring affair when these 2 teams meet on Saturday. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami Dolphins versus Jacksonville Jaguars. The Miami Dolphins have been off to an up-and-down start this preseason, with a big win and a big loss that has featured primarily their backups. But on Saturday, they'll go to battle in their final preseason game with the Jacksonville Jaguars, whose starters are looking for a major tune-up ahead of the regular season. Both teams have incredible offensive weapons, and while Miami is looking to rest Tua Tagovailoa to keep him in good health ahead of the regular season, the Jaguar starters are expected to play at least a half of football, which, with their new weapons, could mean a big day for Lawrence and co. The Jaguars won their first 2 preseason games, which were both on the road. They played very well offensively and scored at least 25 points in both games. Rookie quarterback Nathan Rourke has outplayed C.J. Beathard so far and will likely get the start in this game. But they won't need him to do much because their ground game has been impressive so far, with the team gaining 290 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2 games. The Dolphins struggled against the run in their first preseason game, but they played well in their last game against a Houston team that is averaging less than 100 rushing yards per game in 2 games, so expect the Jaguars to test Miami's run defense in this game. The Dolphins didn't play well offensively in their first game, but they did a better job against the Texans, scoring 28 points in the win. With their backup quarterbacks taking most of the preseason snaps, they haven't looked good throwing the ball, but they've done a good job on the ground, gaining over 360 yards in 2 games. But the Jaguars have done a great job defending the run, holding their first 2 opponents under 130 combined rushing yards, so expect them to slow down Miami's ground game and force their quarterbacks to try to beat them through the air, which isn't going to happen. In the regular season, this would be one of the most highly anticipated matchups, as both these teams are stacked full of talent, but given the way Jacksonville's backups have looked this preseason, as well as their starters kicking off this game for at least 1 quarter, potentially a half, this is their game to win. The Jaguars are 2-0 this preseason, and their offense, whether starters or backups, has been absolutely rolling, and while Miami's quarterbacks will both be competing for the backup spot after lackluster performances a week ago, this should still be a big-time victory for the Jaguars. So the Jacksonville Jaguars to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Dolphins averaged 15.5 points per game through their first 2 games, and they scored 28 points in their lone road game. They haven't thrown the ball well, but they've picked up a lot of yards on the ground. The Jaguars have done a great job on the ground, holding opponents to 64.5 points per game while giving up 15.5 points per game, so expect them to hold the Dolphins under 20 points in this game. The Jaguars averaged 26.5 points per game through their first 2 games. They've thrown the ball efficiently and they run it very well. They are facing a Miami team that has done well against the pass but has been shaky against the run and held their opponents to 11 points per game, so don't expect the Jaguars to score enough points to push the score past the total. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.